Alright guys, I'm here in Marbella and I've just pulled up at a car park outside a place called Elements Gym, where I'm going to be doing an interview with quite a well-known chap. You shall see shortly.
Rob Lipsett, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Rob, it's great to be here in Marbella, in your turf. It's funny, I actually lived here when I turned 30. I bought a place in Soto Grande, and it's many years now.
I did it by 29.
So we had a similar experience.
Similar life, yeah.
It kind of goes up and down. There's ebbs and flows and stuff with kids and all that kind of stuff. And you recently had a kid.
Yeah, we can get into that today.
Tell me this, Rob, how do you describe yourself? I know that most people would say you're a fitness influencer, but do you see yourself as that still, or are you evolving and doing other stuff?
Yeah, for sure. I would say fitness creator.
Okay.
Because the word influencer, it's just got such a bad rap at this stage. And typically the actual word influence is a negative thing. Like, I'm driving under the influence, or you influence someone, you cast a spell on them, So it's got a bad rap. But yeah, of course, by definition, I guess so. But yeah, fitness creator, fitness influencer, fitness entrepreneur, as long as it has something to do with fitness, I'm into it.
You're into it. And that has led to you getting into property and things like that. We'll go into that in a little bit.
Yep.
But why don't you just take us back to the beginning? Because I was at this thing that you spoke at that James Gallagher organised in Power Scores in Dublin a couple of months ago. And in fact, that's where you and I first met.
Yep.
And I found it very interesting, your backstory. And so I thought, why don't we open up with a little bit of that? Take us back to young Rob leaving school and kind of trying to figure out, what am I going to do?
Yeah, so thank you so much for asking that, because if I don't start at the beginning in chronological order, my story is so confusing and it's so all over the place that I lose track. So I'm in school, in a great rugby school, and really into rugby. That's how I first entered the gym. And I was decent, our year won the SET and everything. And a few of my friends went on to play for Ireland. I was on the squad and everything. I was good. But I was better at the gym. I was better at strength and conditioning. I don't have the hand-eye coordination for the rugby. And so that's what first got me picking up a weight. I wanted to get bigger and stronger for rugby. And that's when I found my passion, my calling. Typical meathead, bottom of the year in school. Worst results in the whole entire year. And I was kind of always made a joke out of myself. I'd view myself as the class clown, as I'll never amount to anything. And I had a very negative self-view. And the only thing that I was good at was, going to the gym, lifting weights, the strength and conditioning. And so school ended. I got into a half-assed college course that I wasn't really into. Funny enough, it was business management. And I was like, oh yeah, I want to start a business. Of course I'll like to do it. But I was still just sitting in a lecture hall and I couldn't motivate myself to study for my exams. And so I failed first year of college, repeated the year, failed it again.
Jeez.
Pure stagnancy. And the worst feeling in life is being stagnant. You're just drifting through life, going nowhere. And so this is when I had a little bit of a crisis, and I had to just have a word myself. And I'm like, all right, Rob, you're 21 now. You're coming into the prime of your life when you've got all this energy. Now is make or break. These are make or break years. You need to decide on what you want to do for the next decade for your 20s. And instead of trying to flog a dead horse and be good at something that I wasn't good at, which was academics and studying, just being real and sitting in a classroom or a lecture hall, I was like, I'm going to double down in fitness. I'm going to go all in on this. And so at the time, I was skipping all my lectures to just go to Raw Gym Portobello. Because it was beside, I was in DIT. They're right there, literally about 100 meters from each other. Roger and Portobello's gone now. It's Sandyford and Donnybrook. And they had a, personal trainer certification course. And so I was like, oh, okay, I'll sign up for that. I'll pay whatever it is to do that. And for the first time in my life, I passed an exam.
Follow the passion.
Yeah, I was like, okay, maybe I'm not an idiot. Maybe if I actually am interested in something, I can learn about it. And I'm not joking. I passed all my personal trainer exams, even like the biology and endocrinology, the smart stuff.
Wow.
I passed all that without even studying. I didn't even
you
study
knew your stuff.
because I would watch countless YouTube videos. I would of like nutritionists, researchers, scientists, everything. I know all the science behind it. And it's complicated stuff, but I could learn about it. I love it. Like I could learn about it with ease. And that's when I had it clicked for me. I was just being pushed towards the wrong things. So I got, really good PT certification. And at the time, this is why you asked me chronologically, because at the time I was in and out of college. I was working in retail. I was working in an office in Sandyford at one stage as well. I was all over the place. And then I decided to start my YouTube channel because I had my qualification. I wanted to start coaching people. And I feel that's when my life began. At the age of 22, that's when I view the adventure of Rob beginning. And I started just making fitness videos about every question I'd ever got asked. And then I started a website. I started online coaching. I was able to quit my office job. I started working with brands on YouTube, brands in the fitness industry, and it all just went from there. But since the ages of 12 until 18 and then 22, I was all over the place. I was forcing myself to be something that I wasn't. And I only feel like I found my feet at 22 and got into the fitness industry.
That's really interesting because similar to myself, I was the worst in the class. I was so academically behind everybody. And I can remember doing a spelling test back in school. I actually still have some of these report cards. I kept them out. And 1 out of 50 in spelling, and things like that. So I just was not an academic.
Oh, so not number one.
It was not number one. But what happened to me is I went off to New York City with a family holiday. And we were going to Disney World or something. But we flew to JFK and we spent 3 days in New York City. And I can remember walking around looking at the skyscrapers and going, what? This is incredible. These skyscrapers are so tall. And that ignited something in me. And I can remember I was drawing skyscrapers at home and all this kind of stuff. And people were like, God, Gavin, you should be an architect. And it was the first time it was planted in my head that, doing stuff that I really enjoy has a name attached to it. And so for me, I suddenly found that I could study when it was something that it meant that I was going to become an architect. And architecture, turned out it wasn't for me when after I qualified for it, I got into property. And the property is where it kind of took off for me, financially at least. Tell us, in terms of, the career that you've had, how long, YouTube, a lot of people sort of say, Gavin, you should start a YouTube channel and stuff like that. Well, I'm 53 years of age, so I'm not sure how many people want to watch a 53-year-old on YouTube.
Gary Vee, Joe Rogan, everyone is in their 60s, all my favorite guys, so not true,
okay,
not true.
Well, in that case, I might kick it off today. Today will be the number one.
This better be going on YouTube.
This will be going up.
Yeah.
But tell us, how long did it take for you to get the traction? Because I know when you start, you have 27 views on a video and things like that, and there can be a real breaking through that kind of barrier is hard work. So how long were you posting before it started to kind of gather momentum? Yeah,
so I did it alongside my 9 to 5 when I was working in this office in Sandyford, and so I would have my 9 to 5. It was actually 9 to 6, and then I would finish up in work, drive home in Dublin traffic, so take about 30 minutes, if not an hour, to pack up and everything, get home. 7 o'clock, I would have dinner with my family, and then I would go to the gym, and I'd get back from the gym at about 9:30 and maybe even 10. And between 10 and 2 a.m., I'd start working on content. I'd be planning content, scripting videos, recording videos with a ring light because it was pitch black, and editing them. That takes so much time as well. And I couldn't afford an editor at the time. And, I was just doing it all on my phone, just bootstrapping a YouTube channel, just getting by. And then I'd sleep a couple of hours, not a full 8 hours, and then I'd go to work again the next day. And then on the weekends, I didn't go out. I barely drank for 3 years, a handful of time, because so many guys are out there popping bottles, celebrating with none to celebrate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, come on. And so I would use my weekends to get ahead. And when you think about it, your weekends, it's almost half the week. You got nearly three entire days, 3 days out of 7. So I would really utilize my weekends a lot, and I would schedule uploads and everything. But it was all just every spare hour that I had would go into YouTube and my fitness business, coaching, and ebooks and everything that came with it. And so I did this for, I would say, 3 months. And then by month 6, I was able to quit my job.
Oh, really?
And so, but what I recommend people doing is, I call it like the magic number, okay? At the time, I was earning $2,000 a month. Working 9 hours a day, $2,000, like minimum. It was minimum wage, because I was very young, like, and I had no college degree, so they're hardly going to give me like maximum wage. So I was earning like literal minimum wage, and so I was like, okay, I just have to beat that. I need to beat that for at least 3 months. So I think my income from fitness and coaching was like $3,000 per month, and my advice is it doesn't have to be 3 months. The longer, the better. Like if you can save up 2 incomes for 6 months or even 12 months, that's going to give you more safety. It's going to give you a bigger safety net. So oftentimes you'll hear like, quit your job, follow your dreams. Try do both. Try stack as much cash as possible to create a runway for yourself. Yeah. So I did it in about 3 to 6 months, and then I walked into my boss's office. He's a really nice guy. It wasn't like I didn't flip his table, but you put slap in the face, say I quit. He was really cool. I was like, look, I'm 22. I'm going to give this YouTube fitness thing a go, and he was like, right on. You're doing absolutely nothing here. I see you writing plans on your desk. I was also doing that as well, and so he was super cool about it. And it was real funny. Like, you just wake up one day and you're like, I don't have a job. you're like, it's all on me. Yeah. And like my family, my sisters, my parents were like, you got to work today? And I was like, I didn't tell them for like a while. I was like, no, we all got a week off or something. But then that's when I started putting 100% effort into YouTube and fitness and coaching and everything. And once you put in 100% effort, you're going to get 100% returns. So things just skyrocketed from there. And within that was like 2014. By like 2016, I was living what I would class as my dream life. I was going up to LA and the UK to all these fitness expos, working with really good brands. I think I got sponsored by My Protein around then. I then became the face of My Protein, and I was earning like a great income, especially for my age. Yeah.
And in terms of the value of YouTube, Instagram for, I suppose, making you well known, and because the brands, do you chase the brands, or do they chase you to kind of do some sort of a brand deal? How does that work?
So a quick one on YouTube versus Instagram and TikTok and everything. At the time when I started, my first ever upload was September 1st, 2014. Vertical content didn't exist. Okay. You couldn't upload a video to Instagram. It's square pictures.
Yeah. I remember,
So if you wanted to make video content, you had to go on YouTube, and thank God for that, because long form is just infinitely more powerful. And so that trained me to always lean in and prioritize long form. Right. If you upload a TikTok or a reel, they're great for reach. They're great to get you going, and they're very easy to consume. But if someone watches a 15-second clip, they'll just scroll on afterwards, and it won't make much an impact. They won't form much of a relationship with you. Versus if someone sits down to watch an hour-long podcast, that's like doing a sales call with someone for an hour. Yeah. Like, they know what your body language is like. They know what your thoughts on everything. You form a relationship. Joe Rogan's the biggest influencer in the world because people watch 3-hour episodes of him. I watch 3 hours. Like I'll watch an hour, like, at home at breakfast, when I'm eating. Then I'll do like half an hour in the car, and then an hour doing cardio. Like, it keeps me engaged. I'm like, oh, I need to go back and watch this podcast. Finish halfway through. No, I couldn't tell you what TikTok I watched yesterday. I could not tell you one off the top of my head. So instead of measuring just on views, which is kind of vanity metrics, you should measure on impact and conversions.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you.
Oh, and sorry, wait, on the brands. Sorry, I skipped past that. A little bit of both. Ideally, you've got more leverage when a brand messages you first. You've got more bargaining power, the art of the deal, be willing to walk away. But there is some brands that, like, I'll see, and dream brands to work with, and I'll reach out to them as well. But majority of brand deals or sponsors come to me, and that's a much more ideal situation. It's like dating. Okay, right? You want to be chased, not doing the chasing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because I see I see a lot of guys online, and next minute an ad appears and it's like BetterHelp or something like that.
I've done a BetterHelp.
I saw it actually on one of your vlogs, and I was wondering, like, how does it work? Do those guys reach out and say, "Hey, Rob, we'd like to do like 3 months with you" or something like that? Is that how it works?
Yeah, typically. So brand deals are typically one-off sponsorships, like a sponsored video. And then an ongoing sponsorship like Ghost and Alfleet, who I've been with since 2016 and 2018. That's the sweet spot. That's what you want to get. That's very hard to get as well, because like you need to be able to like constantly show your audience the product and constantly be making sales. And then they'll put you on a set salary plus commission. And like, your salary's bigger than working in Google.
Yeah, wow.
Like it's bigger than working in any corporate job. Like you can look it up, it's absolutely crazy. So it's the dream, getting paid a salary to work with a brand you'd buy anyways.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts. And so the sponsorships are very hard to get in any other industry apart from the fitness athlete industry, because like just typically, like let's say you're in the makeup industry, cosmetic industry, they'll typically do one-off brand deals. Some really top creators will get those ongoing sponsorships and they'll make those monthly videos, but it's kind of like you want to become an ambassador. That's another good word for it. So you get paid for years.
Yeah, it's funny because I can remember coming across your video on the 20,000 calorie challenge that you did. And what was funny is that you were wearing the same brand in your first one 8 years ago and the one that you just recently did. So it's really, it just shows like that you've been working with them for so long.
Fair play for noticing that.
I did notice, yeah. I pay attention. I've been watching your vlog for about the last week, just trying to kind of make sure prep for this. Tell us, Rob, when it comes to things like you bought a property in Marbella, and I'm curious because I know here in Spain, like I own a property down in Soto Grande, and it can be like the banks are not the most flexible here. And so did you like have to go through mortgage, or did you have the money to be able to go and do it without a mortgage?
Oh yeah, so very, very funny story there, and I'm glad you asked. I don't think I've ever spoken about this. So I go to a bank. I went to a broker in Marbella. Okay, so first off, with the villa, right? This villa, I don't want to give the exact price what I bought it for, but the biggest bargain. When I tell people, tell you off camera, when I tell people, they do not believe it. Like if you just go on idealista.com, which is our like daft, and if you tick the filters, minimum 3-bed, it was 4-bed, I made one into an office, but minimum 3-bed, detached villa with a pool in Nueva Lucia, you're not getting anything. You can fact check me on this. You're not getting anything for under $1 million.
Yeah.
Not even, I actually think it's like 1.5 million now anyways. I got it for a very good price. And so the day I went in there to the like open house, like there was Ferraris, Porsches, Lambos outside, everything, a bunch of very well put together men viewing and men and women viewing it. And I went in, they all wanted to buy it. Everyone wanted to buy it. And I knew the girl who like was selling it, pretty much like the realtor. And Faye was her name. And I was like, I need this. I see so much potential here to make it mine. And she was like, if you give me 10K right now, I'll take it off the market and I'll give it to you because you're my friend. And like I could see there was packed. Everyone, loads of people wanted to buy it. Everyone's like, this place is insane for this price. And so I got it, 10K on the day, no hesitation. And then I was like, okay, now I need to sort a mortgage.
How am I going to find the money for this? Yeah.
I was like, I think I just lost 10K. And so I went to a broker, and it's funny, in Marbella, they'll move mountains for you, but he went to loads of different banks, and everyone said, no. This is an Irish guy in his 20s, foreigner,
YouTuber.
That was the main thing. Not a traditional job. And
no pay slip, basically.
Yeah, and so those two things, being a foreigner and non-traditional job, they were like 50% down payment.
Oh, wow. Okay.
50% down payment. So That transaction was hundreds of thousands. There's a little clue on the cost. So, you know, I had to physically fly home to Ireland, go into AIB, sign over the amount, and they're like, are you being held hostage? They're like, you're wiring this money to like some Spanish account. They're like, are you okay? They're like, blink twice if you need help. And I was like, no, it's good. So I did that anyways. I wired that over, and then I got a mortgage. But as a result, because paid half the thing off, my monthly repayments are so cheap. They're nothing. So to answer your question, it was very difficult. I had to provide so much paperwork, and there would be times where I thought I wasn't going to get it, and like I feel like I just got it by the skin of my teeth. But great feeling when you get approved and you get the keys, and then you've got another hundreds, thousands to renovate. But I was like, I'll worry about that once I have the keys. That's all I cared about.
What I find really interesting, in fact, it's how I discovered you actually, is Villa Lipsett, the Instagram page. Yeah. Because I was scrolling away and I saw you showing your house, and I was looking at the before and afters, and you did an absolutely stunning job.
Really proud of it.
I saw the like burgundy marble floors and all this kind of stuff. It was really ugly.
It was so the house was built in the 1950s, and it was owned by, this was another reason why I got it at such a good price. The couple, it was a Dutch couple that owned it, and I'm not exaggerating, 80. They're in their 80s.
Right.
So they're going back to, you know, Netherlands to finish out their life, really. Yeah. And they lived there their whole life. They're artists. They're hippies.
You could tell that because there was like mosaics of cows and stuff like that.
I'm like, these guys got to be on LSD or something, or acid for the whole duration. But they're honestly the coolest people ever. We met them and they're really nice. But yeah, they're hippies. Like they're really what's the word? Interesting people. And or there's definitely a better word. It's like an Austin Powers type word.
I know what you mean.
Not intrinsic or something like that. But they're very, very funny
eccentric
people. That's the word. Thank you.
There you go.
Intrinsic. Eccentric. But so they're very interesting, and they just wanted to get rid of the house.
They wanted to get rid of the house. Well, it's being in a position to move quickly is one of the big things that I talk to my guys is to have the cash ready to go. And if you don't have the cash ready to go, having like investors that you've spoken with who are kind of comfortable with you, so that you have the ability to raise money quickly.
So I have a question for you on that. Like, would there be any way of me avoiding having to do that massive down payment with investors, or because it's like somewhere that I wanted to live? You
see, the thing is in Spain, it's a little bit different because you've got a lot of inflexibility with the banks. Like I have a mortgage on my villa that I took out in 2008. So it's like 18 years ago. I've been paying that for 18
Tiger Buzz.
Yeah. And I paid like top dollar, and then it dropped massively in value. And then in the last couple of years, it started to come back a little bit. And I sort of thought, oh, that's great. Now, I wonder, can I get like an equity release? Because I'd like to upgrade the house and renovate it or something like that. No chance. They're very, very conservative here. And so I'm not so sure. I know back home, you can go and you can reach out, let's say 50% down payment from a mortgage. What the likelihood is, you would have to go and find some sort of an investor who's happy to lend you money, maybe at a higher interest rate. So you'd be paying like 10% maybe a year.
Yeah.
So it's going to cost you, but you wouldn't have to have the money there and then. The fact is that the person is going to be second behind the bank, so they don't have like a security over your villa.
Yeah.
And that's the bit that makes people a little bit nervous. It's like you could basically, like if the bank, if you stop paying everybody and like decided to just kind of crawl up and go into a cave or something like that, they'll take it and they'll sell it. And the bank get paid first, and that's whatever's left over then is for anyone else. Okay. And that's why they're nervous. That's why they like to charge a bit more.
Yeah, and because what I would love to do. So by the way, Villa Lipsett has gone up almost 4x in price. Because we've had people try to buy it. I'm not joking, right? These two women knock on the door, and they're like, we're from Marbella Dream Living or whatever realtor. They're like, we've a client that is obsessed with your house. They want to buy it for, I think they offered 1.9 million.
Wow.
And I was like, how do you know where I live? And they go, we recognize it from Instagram. I was like, well, that's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. But thank you, come on in. But we've gotten 3 offers, one for like 1.5, then year 2 later, 1.8, 1.9. Wow. So I guess that's the value of, we haven't got it proper valued in a while, but that's what people offer, put their money, willing to pay. So it'll probably go up even more with like the neighbor's house. That's like exact same, literally built from the same era. That just sold for 2 million. So
wow,
so it's good. And then we do Airbnb. I'm getting to a pitch. We do Airbnb as well. Booked up every summer for $900 a night. So that's covering the mortgage, living for free.
And what will you do during that time?
Back and sleep on my mom's couch. Last summer we went back to Ireland. We love it because
you had the baby and stuff
we had
like
the baby. So that was the excuse. This year we're only doing August. So if anyone's watching this, we want to rent it in August. Yeah, it's live on Villa Lipsett. And so
will you go back home for August?
I love summer in Ireland. In Ireland, it's the only time it's bearable.
Yes,
it literally is the only time it's not 0 degrees. And August here, not good. Traffic. I beat the final bosses. Tourists. If you actually live here, you will like April, May, June, and September, October. They're like my favorite months. So we'll go back. But now let's say, so it's a great business, Villa Lipsett. I want to do the same in Ibiza.
Right, okay.
I want to have Lipsett villas.
Yes.
So if I wanted to get an investor for that, is it possible? How could I do it?
I think what you need to do is join my program.
I know, that's what I'm saying. A pitch followed by a pitch.
No, the thing is that I think all of this stuff is possible, but you have to build your hypothesis around it. If it's all down to you finding like a bargain, it's going to be more difficult. But if you're able to say, well, we're combining my reach using Instagram and YouTube, because I saw the fact that you're promoting your villa on YouTube when you're showing, hey guys,
that's where all the bookings come from.
This is it,
and from that Instagram page. And it's funny, that Instagram page that has like 15,000 followers, like that gets not more bookings than my own page. That following is from my own page, but like that's a niche audience, you could say. Like that's directly people who are interested in the progress of the villa or who want to stay there. So it's
that's it.
valuable.
And I think that would be an angle that could make it more of a business pitch, because if it's just, well, we're going to go and look for nice places to buy a bargain, how likely is it that you're going to find a similar bargain like at a quarter of the price that it's worth today? It's kind of unlikely, especially Ibiza being the place. Now, you'd have to have agents out there scouring the whole area for it. But I think the fact that you're getting $900 a night, I mean, that sounds above average. And I would say that's down to the fact that your reach is actually, you've got this niche audience that are kind of saying, oh, I want to stay there because I've seen him in the pool and I kind of see how nice
I want to smell Rob's socks.
Yeah, but it's so convenient. Like you can only walk down the road to Portabanus and stuff like that. So that's a nice location to be in. Yeah. But it's also in pristine condition, to be fair. I've looked at all of the photographs that you've put up.
I've got extreme OCD.
I can see that.
It's like Patrick Bateman's house. It's like a crime scene.
Tell us this, Rob. You and I were, it's funny, if you go back to January, we were both staying in the Fairmont in Dubai. By accident, happened to be in the same hotel. Yeah. I can remember my wife saying, does Rob Lipsett have a mustache? And I was like, yeah, why? And she's like, I think he's sitting over there having breakfast with his wife and kid,
So
and I was like, oh, no way. And next minute, we were communicating on Instagram or whatever it was. Yeah. Tell me what your view is now, like the conflict has kicked off, all of that stuff. Like everyone was talking about moving to Dubai, all this kind of stuff. What's your view now on the Dubai market and that dream that a lot of people are chasing?
The PR has definitely gotten a hit. And so for even more context, we were staying in the hotel that first got hit with debris or drone, whatever it is. People were messaging me like, oh my God, are you still there?
I got that too.
We left like 3 days beforehand. And so when that first happened, I was like, oh, this is terrible, but it'll just be like a 1 day thing. And then
8 weeks later.
Now I'm in a few like WhatsApp groups and I've loads of friends in Dubai. And for context, I'm a resident in Dubai. I have my Emirates ID and everything. And it's somewhere that I go very often. I've been going there for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I love it. Like it has everything that I want, which is pretty much gym and beach. That's it. Like when I go to, like, that's why I live in Marbella, or if I go to Bali or Miami, that's what I love to do. I love being in nice hot weather, swimming in the ocean, healthy food, and going to the gym. That's all I really want in life, you know. And when people are like, oh, Marbella and Dubai are pretentious, I'm like, bro, just go to gym and beach. Like, no one's bothering you. Like, just live a healthy lifestyle. You don't have to do any of the pretentious stuff. And so I love Dubai for that. You can live a very healthy lifestyle there, amazing weather, beaches, restaurants, all that good stuff. Now, going forward, is the PR taking a hit? Yes.
Big time.
Yes, for sure. If I had to place a bet on it coming back, I would say yes. It's just too big a hub. It's just too big a city. It's kind of like there's been some disasters in New York, London. LA was on fire, burnt to the ground not long ago. I haven't seen anyone mention that ever again. I haven't mentioned that in months. These places that are so big and have so much massive buildings and so much massive businesses and so many people living there, it's not like it's a random uninhabited place. I just think going off those analytics that it will make a comeback, and people will start holidaying there again. But it is definitely a big PR hit for sure, because it prided itself on being a safe haven. It's the safest place ever. And anytime I've gone there, it has been so safe. Like, you walk at night or anything, no one says boo to you or anything. It's all, you leave your phone anywhere, nothing ever happens. And so it's crazy to see. But I think, to answer your question, I think it will recover.
It will recover. I agree with you. But the timing is the issue. And a lot of people who are putting deposits down on apartments and stuff like that, they're going to be nervous because, you know, you've agreed a price at the top of the market, and then all of a sudden, you know, people are not renting at the moment, like in Dubai, because the streets are empty.
Yeah, and in summer it empties out anyways.
It's exactly. I remember 2001, September 11th. And I was actually over in the US.
I was going to say that when I said New York last, like, they don't mention it.
I was there, and it was actually, believe it or not, it was day one of my wedding and my honeymoon, okay? And I turned on the TV to see, like, I wonder what channels we get. We were in Barbados. Yeah. Turn on the channel, and next minute, there's a plane, like, sticking out of one of the towers. And I was like, what the hell has happened here? And then I watched live, the second thing hit. And that day, like, it shook the world, like, because suddenly they were introducing where they, you know, you got to take off your shoes at the airline desks and all this kind of stuff. And like they enhanced sort of security checks, all that kind of stuff. And stocks fell in airlines, stocks fell in hotels. And it was about 2 years before things recovered and got back to normal. So I think Dubai, like, depending on how long this conflict lasts, Iran and stuff, I think it'll be a while before people start booking holidays to go back to Dubai, because they'll be wondering, what if it kicks off again? Certainly while Donald Trump is in office, there seems to be a little bit of, uncertainty about what's going to happen with the world and stuff like that.
Yeah, some of his tweets aren't helping.
No, they don't. Ending the civilization, like
But I've a lot of friends there now, and I actually just messaged in the group yesterday. I'm like, haven't seen any videos or like explosions or anything. What's going on, like, guys? Better, I was like, because obviously you get a censored version on the news, and I was like, is there anything bad? And they're like, nah, it's all stopped. They're like, it's completely, as for like, even the last 2 weeks, there hasn't even been a noise.
Yeah. It's been good from that point of view. But I just saw the news. I don't know whether you noticed this, but yesterday evening, the UAE extracted itself from OPEC.
Yeah, that was sent into my group. Yeah.
And that is going to be, from the 1st of May, it's going to be, they're not part of OPEC anymore. And apparently they have like fighter jets flying over the city now and stuff like that, just because they think there's going to be maybe some sort of a backlash from that, from maybe Saudi or something like that.
What's the cliff notes on that? Like, what does that mean?
The thing is that the way it works is that all of these nations, I think there's like 15 nations that all produce oil, and the way they all agreed at the time that we're going to limit the amount of oil that we produce, so to keep oil prices high. And everyone agreed that, yes, we'll all be in cooperation on this. And they've decided, no, we're not. We're getting out. And that means that instead of being, limited to selling, say, 2 million barrels a day or something like that, they can sell 5 million barrels a day if they want. And so it means that they'll get as much income in as they want, but now they'll be competing with Saudi and stuff like that. And so it could turn into a situation where there's a bit more international kind of conflict down there, where guys are not happy that these guys are selling to their competitors and stuff like that, and they can drop the price if they want, and they can increase the price if they want. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. It's but for sure, it's all part of the fact that the Iran thing kicked off.
Yeah.
And so none of this would be happening if it hadn't happened, So, tell me this. It's funny. I'm looking at a couple of notes here, and one thing that so I have a TikTok following my sudden emergence on social media.
Yeah, it's great. Your content's great, by the way. You're super consistent.
It's funny. I'm working with a guy now that helps me do that, but. What I did was, it's really interesting how the first video, and I'd love to know how you got your your big, viral hit or whatever it was. But I was in a WhatsApp group, and the guy that invited me in, he said, Gavin, record a quick video, introduce yourself to the guys, and that's it. So I did this quick video. I was like, hey, it's Gavin and whatever. And then that evening I was lying in bed and I was on TikTok, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do an experiment. I'm going to upload that video that I recorded for the guys in the group to TikTok and just see what happens, okay? So went to bed. Next morning I opened my phone, and the first thing I opened was LinkedIn. I had 250 followers from overnight. I was like, what the hell? Like, what's happened on LinkedIn? I don't remember posting anything on LinkedIn. Yeah. And then I went to Instagram, and there was like 700 new followers. And I was like, huh? Like, what's happening here? And then I went to TikTok, and that video got 58,000 views during the night. And I had 2,500 followers the next morning. And I remember just going, oh my God, what the hell is going on here? And that was when I suddenly realized like how you can all it takes is one video, and it can be the weirdest thing that you don't expect to perform. Like that wasn't even for TikTok, that video. It was for a WhatsApp group. Yeah. And yet 58,000 views. Tell us, like, in terms of you putting out the content that you've put out, have you been surprised by random videos just outperforming?
Yeah, I call it the social media slot machine.
Okay, yeah.
so you can... You go into the casino and you see those people and they're at the slot machine like this, ding, ding,
waiting
ding,
for the hit.
Trying, putting a coin in, and then boom, one randomly, just no rhyme or reason, randomly, ding, 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 and changes your life. You hit that 200 grand slot or whatever it is, and that video can skyrocket your personal brand, which will blow up your business. You often see these businesses, like they're run by, maybe a student starting out, and they just get that one video and it sells out all their stock. And that's like, that allows them to invest in more stock and get into shops and everything. It's just always from that one video. And I find that very motivating to keep creating content.
Just in case.
Yeah, you're only ever one video away from changing your life. I think that's really cool and really interesting.
Yeah.
And so I've had a few mega viral posts and videos, but my climb has been fairly slow and consistent. I've been going since 2014, and that's actually one thing that has allowed me to build a long-term personal brand and have more longevity. Because sometimes if you go from 000 and you have this one mega viral video, and now that's all you're known for, and people don't really know anything else about you, or you don't actually provide much value to help people, you just have this one random spike, and then it'll just go back down to zero.
Gotcha.
So you having a good viral video is great, it can change your life, but it's always best to just have a more consistent climb to build your audience.
And tell us, you're known for fitness and stuff, and when you started producing videos, it was lots of fitness and stuff. But obviously today there's a lot more lifestyle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When did you decide to transition into the kind of lifestyle stuff?
For sure. I think it was around 2017 or 18. I just covered every single topic known to man in fitness. And so it's a very natural progression. When someone starts out on social media, they'll just write out 100 questions they get asked, and they'll work through them fairly quickly. And then the next natural progression is document, don't create. So you ran out of telling people what to do, and because there's only one right answer. Like fitness is science and evidence based.
Yeah.
So you can't just make up a new take on it. Like you sleep 8 hours, a gram of protein per pound of body weight. You hit every muscle group twice per week. Like there's science behind it that you can't just randomly change and make up. So once you actually cover every topic, like that's it. So then you got to show how you apply it. So it bring people along into your lifestyle. I got a wedding coming up. Here's how I'm going to approach my diet. I got a holiday with the family coming up. This is how I'm going to train for it. This is what I'm going to do when I'm away. This is how I'm going to eat at the hotel buffet. Yes. Now all of a sudden you've got an infinite amount of stuff to vlog about and talk about. And then you'll have different interests in life. No one is just interested in fitness. That is super boring.
Yeah,
that's not true. No one is, I just go for the gym for a living. I have no other passions or interests. So then you start letting your audience in on everything else. Joe Rogan talks about MMA, aliens,
pretty
weed, politics, cigars, whiskey, everything. He talks about travel. He talks about fitness a lot as well.
Yeah.
The Rock has tequila, wrestling, acting, NFL, everything. So no one has just one interest. And once you actually show people your weird quirks and weird interests, people will really bond with that as well.
Yeah.
One thing I'm obsessed with aliens.
Oh, really?
I'm obsessed with UFOs. There's actually some crazy stuff going on. There's like 10 scientists who are learning about anti-gravity propulsion and like all this crazy stuff, and they've all been killed. They've all been killed, and people are saying like all these massive corporations like Ford and the government are killing them so they don't find out a new source of energy which will put all these oil companies and energy companies out of business. So there's a random thing.
Conspiracy.
I love conspiracies. Like who doesn't love good conspiracy?
Yeah.
So there you go. That's just a random little thing that I'm super interested in as well.
Yeah.
And there's going to be someone who watches that and is like, I fuck with Rob a little bit more now because of that. So you'll start off just talking about your niche. You'll do everything. You cover everything. You'll go into how you incorporate into your lifestyle. And then once you keep going, you'll end up just naturally just talking a little bit about everything. And I think that's a lot more fun as well.
Yeah.
Ultimately with content creation, personal brand building, you got to have fun with it. That's what's allowed me to show up every single week for the last decade and not get tired of it, because I love this. Like, it's fun.
And what would you recommend for somebody who's thinking of getting stuck into YouTube, like in terms of volume? How many episodes? Because it is time consuming. Like I've done the whole thing. Like I first got interested in YouTube when Casey Neistat was doing the daily vlog.
I'm going so fast right now. Look, I'm going fast in this cab.
It's my original inspiration.
Yeah.
No, I mean, my number one inspiration to start vlogging, I'm sure millions of other people say the same, but that's the era I come from as well.
Yeah.
That's when I started watching.
And I remember kind of thinking, I'm going to do this, and I started making vlogs. But it's funny, you do need to specialize, first of all, because I started making these random vlogs of me, like, walking around the park with my kids and stuff.
So cute, eh?
And people are like, why would anyone watch that? Like, they're not going to learn from you or anything. So it was only when I started the podcast that I started to have a bit of a following.
Yeah.
And I knew I was making an impact, because the first time I knew it was like 5 or 7 episodes into the podcast. And a guy wrote to me and said, Gavin, that was super helpful. I've actually pulled out of a deal I was going to do this week because of your podcast. And I was like, whoa, isn't
that the nicest thing ever to receive? So one of, if not the biggest motivations I have to keep doing what I'm doing is every single day I'll get a heartwarming message to do with fitness. Being like, Rob, I watched all your free advice. I lost 50 pounds. I was depressed. I couldn't find a good relationship. I had no confidence. I'll get the nicest messages ever. And that is like, I've got some messages that makes me want to cry, honestly. Like, it really motivates me a lot and warms my heart, and it's the best feeling ever.
And tell me, in terms of imposter syndrome, do you suffer from that, or did you?
Every day. If you don't suffer from imposter syndrome, you're a sociopath. Honestly, it's completely normal. Every single day, when I wake up in that big white villa with a Porsche outside, and a beautiful wife, and I jump into my swimming pool and then lift in my home gym, I'm like, how is this happening? Because I feel the last 10 years have gone so fast for me that I still feel like I'm working that office job or just starting out trying to build up my savings and start getting started on YouTube and workarounds. I feel like, because time flies when you're having fun, I feel like the last 10 years has just been gone like that. So it feels like an overnight success for me. So when I wake up every morning and I look around me, I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. And that's why I'm so positive and high energy, because I'm just so grateful for this life. And I have so much perspective because I used to hate my life. I used to hate waking up. I used to hate going into work every day. So now I love it. And so, yeah, I've got imposter syndrome. I'm like, I can't believe this. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing. Imagine like thinking like, I deserve all this. I'm the best. I'm like, psychopath.
It's really refreshing to hear that, because a lot of people they would think that you're a natural kind of communicator and all that kind of stuff, and I think a lot of people they worry about what will people think about me if I put this video out and all that kind of stuff. So
there's another one as well, a nice view, a nice take on imposter syndrome that I really like as well, and it's, you should have it, and if you don't have it, you're not thinking big enough, or you're not putting yourself in big enough rooms, big enough situations. Like, you should be putting yourself into rooms that are with very talented people, to the point you're like, how am I here? Yeah, because that's how you grow. That's how you level up. You're taking on these huge challenges that force you to grow, because you'll go into those rooms, you'll go into those situations, and you will feel like a bit of an imposter, because you're like, how am I here? But I'm going to have to get it done. Yeah. So I think imposter syndrome, if you look at it those two ways, I think it's a good thing, and it's completely normal. And I know guys that are worth 100 million. I honestly, I'll name names after the pod, and they get it as well. Everyone gets it.
Yeah, it's good to know. Speaking of imposters, do you get the thing? One thing that I'm suffering from is on my TikTok account, particularly, there are people pretending to be Gavin Gallagher, and I get this. Gavin, are you messaging me about a crypto investment? And I'm like, no. What are you talking about? And they send me a screenshot, and the guys block me, so I can't see them. Yeah. So I can't complain about something I don't know about. But then people are saying, Gavin, you're selling me a crypto investment on another account. Is that you? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like,
oh my God. You know who also gets that as well? Owen McGee gets that. I think when you're in the finance investing space, you'll get it a lot more, because what would they mess with me? Rob's trying to get me invested in a fitness program or something. But I think I've seen that with a lot of like financial content creators and everything. But yeah, I do get a lot of catfishes, but if you're verified on everything, they kind of goes away.
All right, we've just finished the podcast with Rob Lipsett. Good long podcast, like hour and 23 minutes or something like that we were recording for. So really looking forward to get that one out. And he's convinced me that I should start my own YouTube channel, get into the regular uploads and all that kind of stuff. And the podcast is obviously great, but I think I'm going to do something a little bit shorter. And these videos will go out on a regular basis and share some knowledge, share some wisdom and insights, and maybe take you behind the scenes a little bit. So this is the start of that, and I hope you enjoy.